Good evening and welcome to the meeting of the Skokie Village Board for Monday, May the 7th, 2018. This evening we will be led in the Pledge of Allegiance by Village Clerk Pramod Shah.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The meeting will come to order and the clerk will please call the roll.
Trustee Roberts.
Here.
Trustee Sutker.
Here.
Trustee Ulrich.
Here.
Trustee Bromberg.
Here.
Trustee Klein.
Here.
Trustee Gray-Keeler.
Here.
Mayor Van Dusen.
Here. We have a quorum. Next item on the agenda is approval of the consent agenda for this evening's meeting. A motion is in order. Trustee Klein, seconded by Trustee Gray-Keeler. Is there anything anybody would like to have removed? If not, call the roll, please.
Trustee Roberts.
Aye.
Trustee Sutker.
Aye.
Trustee Ulrich.
Aye.
Trustee Bromberg.
Aye.
Trustee Klein.
Aye.
Trustee Gray-Keeler.
Aye.
Mayor Van Dusen.
Aye, the motion passes. I would like to make a couple introductions, but before doing so, I would like to recognize one of Skokie's police officers. He's not able to be with us this evening. He, in the late afternoon, early evening, was at a ceremony in his honor. Police officer Jeffrey Riggs was honored today with the Cook County Sheriff's Law Enforcement Award. The award is for heroism, outstanding service, and professionalism. And I can't think of anybody who is more deserving than Jeffrey Riggs. I would like to just take a moment to read from Chief Scarpelli's memo to the village manager describing Officer Riggs' service that was honored today. During the evening of October 6, 2016, Officer Riggs heard a call for service involving a suicidal subject at a movie theater in Skokie. Even though this was neither his area nor beat of responsibility, Officer Riggs responded to the scene and located the subject in the parking lot. The subject was actively and repeatedly cutting his own wrists with a razor blade. After verbal commands to drop the razor blade failed, Officer Riggs placed his own life in jeopardy and subsequently disarmed the individual. Several months later, secondly, Officer Riggs heard a call of a cardiac arrest at a local restaurant. Officer Riggs once again responded to the area, located the individual in distress, and began to perform CPR with the assistance of another officer. In addition to performing CPR, Officer Riggs administered an AED shock, which subsequently revived the individual. In both instances, Officer Riggs showed great bravery and compassion while saving both individuals' lives. Without question, Chief Scarpelli continues, Officer Riggs went above and beyond the call of duty, as he does every day, by truly trying to make a difference and to help people. I think we all offer Officer Riggs our debt of gratitude. Not that he did not go above and beyond the call of duty, as the chief said, but this is the kind of service that our police department delivers continuously, day in and day out. and it's one of the reasons why the community is so grateful. And so I ask Chief Scarpelli to please offer our congratulations to Officer Riggs for his service, as well, of course, as to your service as well. So thank you. And we have with us this evening, some people to whom we're giving some extra work. Juliet Hado, I thought I saw Juliet as I was coming in. Also, Will Evans is with us. Will? Will has served for several years as the chairman of the Human Relations Commission, and now will be serving on the Board of Fire and Police Commissioners. So, Will, thank you for continuing your offer of service. We're grateful for everything you have done, and we're going to give you more work now. And it gives me great pleasure to also introduce somebody who is by no means a stranger and somebody for whom we have great affection and admiration. Maria Monastero will now be the chairman of the Human Relations Department. And when I say I thank you, I also mean condolences. It's a very difficult job, as Will can tell you. So thank you very much for your offer of taking on added work. Not that Maria needed it, but we're very grateful. And I also want to recognize Michael Delano, who, Maria, is a new member of the Human Relations Department. And Michael, thank you. And I'd be happy to make the introduction long distance. Your new chairman is right across the room, and I can see that she's eyeing you. I think you're going to be put in charge of a committee or subcommittee or something, so beware. But congratulations to everybody. We thank you for all of the work that you have done for us and that we know you will continue. And it gives me great pleasure to introduce our village manager, John Lockerbie.
Thank you, Mayor Van Duzen and Village Board. Good evening, everyone. Tonight, item A is regarding a TIF Exterior Rehabilitation Program grant for 4820 Searle Parkway and 4901 Main Street for PS Greetings Incorporated. Mr. Mark McCracken, owner of this Skokie-based PS Greetings and Chicago-based Fantas paper products, has expanded his product line to include foldable gift boxes. Recently, he secured a contract with Walmart to produce 55 million gift boxes for this upcoming 2018 holiday season. This is part of Walmart's efforts to reshore production of product here in the United States. Mr. McCracken is investing between $1.2 and $2.4 million in improvements to his property to support this new production and manufacturing contract. The 4901 Main Street building will be used for storage and overflow production needs, and the 4820 Searle Parkway building is for production. Both facilities will receive improvements, including new exterior windows, new ventilation, roof repairs, parking improvements, masonry, tuck pointing, soffits, loading dock upgrades, and a new entrance at the Searle Parkway building. With this new Walmart contract, Mr. McCracken is expected to add at least 35 manufacturing and other related jobs scheduled, and with additional increases in employment in the coming years. The village's facade assistance program allows property owners and tenants to recover 50% of the cost of a complete facade site renovation capped at $100,000. At the initial estimate, cost of improvements for Mr. McCracken's totals $550,000. He's eligible to receive the maximum reimbursement grant of $100,000. Leslie Murphy, the village's economic development specialist, is at the podium, and she has been working with Mr. McCracken and recommends approval of a grant in the amount of $100,000 for Mr. McCracken to proceed with his planned renovations to accommodate this significant increase in production. And Mark McCracken is in the audience. Mark, if you would please stand. in addition to Mark being very successful, his father also has a school named after him here in town. And so I concur with staff's recommendation and respectfully request mayor and board approval of a grant in amount not to exceed $100,000.
Thank you. A motion would be in order. Trustee Sutker, seconded by Trustee Roberts. First, I would like to just say, I went over a couple weeks ago, and Mark was more than gracious taking me through. I never knew so much about gift boxes. I hadn't really given gift boxes a whole lot of thought, but it was not only entertaining, but at one point, I was particularly touched because I asked him, why are you going to do this in Skokie? And also, are you out of your mind? 55 million gift boxes. And he related to me that he did have another opportunity to do the work elsewhere, but that his father had always told him that Skokie was a great place to be. And of course, his father was a legendary educator in the village, and that this was the place he wanted to do it. Now, obviously, that warms my heart, but it's just the idea that we are able to do something that is sort of a legacy type of project. And Mark, it's great to have you. You've been a wonderful corporate citizen, and thank you for everything that you have done for us. And Leslie, do you have some words?
Well, I just wanted to also say that it's been a long-time pleasure to work with Mark, because not only has he come to us recently with this new opportunity for his company and to have the village partner with it, he has been so willing with his very unique 2 buildings within our TIF district to work with us to potentially, I don't know if any of you recall, but we had been working with a craft brewer who was interested in opening up somewhere in Skokie, and Pete Pyre was able to determine that that was probably the one building on the north end that we might be able to get a brewery. And Mark literally worked with us for, I think, over a year with these newbie brewers that didn't end up coming to fruition, but we've been just talking to him for years. He loves the fact that we've helped to create this environment for investment. And the exciting part about this is that Walmart has taken such a strong interest in this contract. It's one of those examples where they're trying to bring back product manufacturing from overseas and bring it here. And there's a Made in America or Buy American campaign that Mark's been working with them for a number of years on this. They are actually planning to come to Skokie at the end of June, and Mark is orchestrating, along with our marketing communications director, Ann Tennis, an event that's going to celebrate this investment and this contract, and we hope that all of you and anyone else that's interested will be able to participate in that. So we're happy to be a part of his project, and I don't know, Mark, do you want to say anything at all, or?
I certainly appreciate the village has been incredibly supportive of this. This is as a manufacturer in the United States, it's a challenging environment, as you can imagine. We've been continually losing business to China for years and years, and to get a win like this with the help of you guys to bring this product back. This product was almost exclusively made overseas, so this is a major endeavor to bring this back and reshore these jobs. So we're really excited about it. We believe this is just the beginning of a grander project, and so we appreciate your guys' support in helping us make it possible.
Mark's had a number of tours of various interested parties. The Economic Development Commission was there last week, and several of you. So, and every time we go over there, it's busier. There's more equipment, there are more people. So I think that's only going to continue for a few more months, and we're excited about it. Thanks.
It's fun to watch the machines.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is.
Busy machines.
Yeah.
Call the roll, please.
Trustee Roberts.
Aye.
Trustee Sutker.
Aye.
Trustee Ulrich.
Aye.
Trustee Bromberg.
Aye.
Trustee Klein.
Aye.
Trustee Gray Keeler.
Aye.
Mayor Van Dusen.
Aye, the motion passes. Congratulations,
Thank you.
Mark. Thank you.
Items B, C, D, and D were approved under tonight's consent agenda, and that completes my report.
Thank you. Next item is report of our Corporation Counsel, Michael Lorge.
Thank you, Mayor, trustees. Good evening, everyone. I'm joined tonight by members of the Corporation Counsel's Office. Item A was an ordinance on the consent agenda at the beginning of this evening and was adopted. Items B and C are resolutions concerning the 8,000 North project to be built on the corner of Lincoln and Oakton, to which the entire community looks forward with great anticipation. While all matters concerning the groundbreaking and construction are proceeding as scheduled, the principals of the project wanted to be present at the time we voted on these resolutions, and unfortunately, from complications at their end, they could not be here tonight. Therefore, I'm going to withdraw these two items from my agenda tonight, and we will present them on May 22nd, 2018, our next meeting date. Item D is an ordinance which will amend Chapter 14, Article 3, Section 1461 of the Skokie Village Code in order to clarify the definition of automatic amusement machine. This will bring it up to date with various means of payment that are used now on these types of machines. Specifically, it will broaden the reference that heretofore has been a coin-operated machine to accommodate other means of payment. This ordinance will be back on the agenda for board action on May 22nd and for second reading and board action at that time. Unless there are any questions, Mayor, that would conclude my report for this evening.
So B and C and D will be on the agenda for the next meeting?
Correct.
Next up is our Planned Commission, Chairman Paul Luke with Peter Pyer.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the board. First case I bring tonight is case 2018-04P, zoning chapter amendment. At the April 5th meeting of the Plan Commission, we reviewed possible modifications to the zoning chapter to the village code to amend retail street designations in the mixed-use zoning districts. In this case, the village code text amendment requesting to remove three addresses, 8122, 8130, and 8142 Lincoln Avenue, from the retail street designation. The ground floor designs of the proposed buildings for these properties are small and do not lend themselves easily to retail use. They are geared more for office use. Planning Commission concurred with staff that the first floor commercial space of the Lincoln Avenue units cannot be used as living space. The owners can, however, lease out the ground space for commercial use. As comments applied to the zoning chapter amendment case, neighbors of the Floral Street or Floral Avenue development inquired about office use options. Any of the allowable CX core mixed use downtown uses may occupy the Lincoln Avenue units, other than restaurants, manufacturing with heavy machinery, or anything noxious. Examples were given as a dress shop or a seamstress, financial or consulting office, or even a pottery maker. The owner of the business to the south of the development expressed hope that the mixed-use units will be brought for their intended purposes and not subletted for extra money. Plan Commission recommends by a vote of 7 ayes, no nays, and 2 members absent that the measure be approved.
The 2018-04P zoning chapter amendment. A motion would be in order. Trustee Robert, seconded by Trustee Klein. Is the idea here the same as there is like on Warren, over on Warren, where
Similar
very similar in
Yeah.
concept?
concept.
Are there any comments or questions on the zoning chapter amendment? If not, call the roll, please.
Trustee Roberts.
Aye.
Trustee Sutker.
Aye.
Trustee Ulrich.
Aye.
Trustee Bromberg.
Aye.
Trustee Klein.
Aye.
Trustee Gray Keeler.
Aye.
Mayor Van Dusen.
Aye, the motion passes.
Next case is case 2018-05P subdivision for 8122, 8130, and 8142 Lincoln Avenue. The Plan Commission heard a request of the Village of Skokie and Chicago Title and Trust or Land Trust, Trust number 427, on behalf of 8130 LLC as contract purchaser to re-subdivide 4 existing lots into 2 new lots at 8122, 8130, and 8142 Lincoln Avenue in a CX Core Mixed-Use District. The subject site, which presently consists of vacant land, will be redeveloped to contain 8 townhouses along Floor Avenue, guest parking spaces, and a trash corral in lot number 1, and 8 mixed-use units with commercial ground floors and upper-story residences along Lincoln Avenue in a lot 2. The subdivision will include a 0.31 foot wide dedication along Lincoln Avenue adjacent to the 8122 Lincoln Avenue, a 33 foot wide right-of-way dedication along Flower Avenue adjacent to 8130 Lincoln Avenue, a 29 foot wide right-of-way dedicated along Lincoln Avenue adjacent to 8130 Lincoln Avenue, and a 1.55 foot wide right-of-way dedication along Lincoln Avenue adjacent to 8142 Lincoln Avenue. Relief will be needed to be granted from Chapter 94-6A2 of the Village Code in order to dedicate Lincoln Avenue to 29 feet from platted center line rather than the required 33 feet. The Plan Commission concurred with staff's recommendation.
A motion on case 2018-05P subdivision 8122, 8130, and 8142 Lincoln Avenue is in order. Trustee Gray Keeler, seconded by Trustee Bromberg. Are there any comments or questions on the subdivision? If not, I'll call the roll, please.
Trustee Roberts,
Aye.
Trustee Sutker,
Aye.
Trustee Ulrich,
Aye.
Trustee Bromberg,
Aye.
Trustee Klein,
Aye.
Trustee Gray Keeler,
Aye.
Mayor Vendis.
Aye. Motion passes.
In related case 2018-06P, Plan Commission heard a request of the Village of Skokie and Chicago Title Land Trust, Trust number 427, on behalf of 8130 LLC as contract purchaser to amend the zoning chapter amendment to change the zoning on the east side of Flower Avenue from approximately 8119 to 8149 Flower Avenue from CX Core Mixed Use to an R4 multifamily residence. The petitioner desired to rezone the subject site, which is presently vacant land, to R4 in order to redevelop the property and construct a planned development that includes 8 townhomes facing Flower Avenue and 8 mixed-use commercial residential units facing Lincoln Avenue that will remain Zone CX, which will be described in the next case. The Planning Commission concurred with staff's recommendation to grant the zoning amendment.
Motion on Plan Commission Case 2018-06P zoning map amendment, 8119 to 8149 Lincoln Avenue is in order. Trustee Ulrich, seconded by Trustee Sutker. Are there any comments or questions on the zoning map amendment? Trustee Roberts.
So, Peter, I just want to make sure that I understand this, and I like the idea of having the map up there. So I think what I get out of this plan is that you feel as staff that there's a nice transition from, on the other side of Floro is R4 or R3, and then...
It'll be turned to changed to R4.
Okay. So Floral Avenue will be R4, and then the Lincoln Avenue side will be the
It'll remain
CX mix.
CX.
And the idea is you feel that that's a nice transition as you have the residential on Floral Avenue as you go over to the more commercial on Lincoln Avenue. Is that
That's right.
kind of the theory behind the zoning designations?
Yeah, just to explain the single-family, the single-family homes on the west side are actually zoned R3, but it's possible how it worked because they're in a combined planned development with the properties on the east side of the street.
So that's a planned development, and they have kind of mixed uses. And then this property will be mixed zoning with R4 on the west and the CX on the east. And that way we can keep the commercial look to the Lincoln Avenue, although it's going to have also a residential look to it. And it'll be very compatible with the other properties across the street.
Yeah, because you have CX to the south and to the east, right?
Yes.
And to the north, actually, too.
Yeah, the CX to the north is just the park, and then when you go further north, you're into TX, which are condominiums and also townhouses.
And are all the Floral Avenue homes now, all the lots are sold?
I
On
don't believe they're
the-
sold, but the last home is under construction now,
Okay,
and it's going to the Appearance Commission tomorrow, or Wednesday.
okay. And is the petitioner in this matter, is he or her a developer, a builder, or?
Yes, he's here, and he can,
My name is Zach Joseph, yes, I've been a developer for almost 30 years.
Have you worked in Skokie before, or where are your other homes or developments?
Skokie, North Shore, Woodview, Northbrook, Highland Park, all over North Shore.
Okay.
Chicago.
Okay. Thank you.
Call the roll, please.
Trustee Roberts.
Aye.
Trustee Sutker.
Aye.
Trustee Ulrich.
Aye.
Trustee Bromberg.
Aye.
Trustee Klein.
Aye.
Trustee Gray Keeler.
Aye.
Mayor Van Dusen.
Aye, the motion passes.
My final case is case 2018-07P. This is the site plan approval. These are for the 8 townhomes from 8119 through 8149 Floral Avenue in an R4 multifamily housing zoning district. These units have a good ground floor space that may be part of the residence or used for business purposes consistent with Chapter 118-79 home occupations. The request also includes 8 mixed-use units with commercial ground floors and upper-story residences at 8122 and 8148 Lincoln Avenue in the CX Core Mixed-Use Zoning District. These ground floor units must be used for commercial purposes, but may contain small retail or office use as allowed in the zoning district. This is an interior motor court, or there is an interior motor court with access off the alley that allows access to each 2-car garage and 8 exterior parking spaces. Each of the units is 3 stories. Relief was requested from the following items in the R4 zoning district. Item A, to reduce the required front yard from 25 feet to 3 feet. B, to reduce the required side yard from 20 feet to 6 feet. C, to decrease the required rear yard from 30 feet to 18.6 feet. D, to increase the maximum land coverage of impermeable surface from 40% to approximately 43%. Item E was asked for, which they requested to allow front yard fences, but this request for front yard fences cannot be heard because it is not eligible for relief under any circumstances. Discussion from the commissioners on the case were primarily regarding the garage access, pedestrian access, trash collection, markability of the ground floor, commercial and commercial parking. At the November 8th meeting of the Appearance Commission, the Appearance Commission approved the proposed building, landscape, and signage. Plan Commission recommends by a vote of 7 ayes, no nays, and 2 members absent that the petitioner's request be granted.
A motion on Plan Commission Case 2018-07P is in order. Trustee Gray Keeler, seconded by Trustee Sutker. Are there any comments or questions on this case? Trustee Roberts.
Peter, would you mind putting up the map of the overall? So could you just please just walk me through, so so basically the entryway to the garages will be through the alley?
Right.
That you could access either from Lincoln or from Floral?
No, you can only enter from Floral. Here, let me push this up a little bit. If here you're on Floral, this is a sidewalk here, but here's the street, and you'd come up the alley, and then you'd come in the back here, and go into that motor court. And each one of the buildings has a two-car garage in the back, and it's on each side. And then there's also visitor parking here in these spaces. And this is going to be landscaped. And the rest of it's going to be brick pavers to take in the impermeable surface and water that's in the area.
Okay, so the alley doesn't go all the way through to Lincoln?
Well, the
There's a-
alley, we don't have one that's modern enough to show you that, but if you're coming off of Floral, you'd make the turn here and you'd go behind the single-family homes.
Okay,
And the single-family homes have garages off that alley also.
okay.
And then that comes back out to Floral on the other side. But there's only one drive going into the townhouse development out of it.
Okay, and could you talk a little bit about, you know, it's going to be land coverage of up to 82%. So in terms of, I see Mr. Binder here, and people are probably concerned about how the water is going to be absorbed or taken care of on the property. Could you talk about the?
Sure. A development such as this, in its planned development, so we go away from the straight requirements of a single-family home or even a duplex or whatever, and go into water detention, actually. So the surface coverage isn't quite as important as in those areas. So they have full water detention. They also have the modern system now where it's all brick pavers, and they're permeable brick pavers so that the water goes down. And they'll also have some storage underneath and tanks and other means to do that. The strange subdivision line that you saw before, it kind of bends through here. That was to give them the proper land coverage for the townhouses. Otherwise, it really wouldn't matter, but to meet ordinance requirements, that was done. Requirements for side yard relief, because of the narrowness of this, the side yards here should have been wider. The front yard should have been deeper, but these are consistent with the single-family homes that are built to the south and across the street. So the attempt was to make them look very much the same, even though these were kind of a more modern, boxy look to them, as a townhouse could be. They're more a city-type townhouse. But the developer actually hired the designer, the architect from the single-family homes to help put elements into this design so that they would be compatible.
Oh, so the same architect that has done the prior Floral Avenue is going to help with Mr. Joseph with this one as well?
Yes, he put in considerable input. I don't know if you had another architect working on it also.
Yeah, we have, yes, we do have another architect working on it, but we originally started with the architect that designed the houses, and we started with that, and they came up with their design, and trying to make it look closest we can to what the houses are built, so the neighbors will be happy with what they're gonna see, instead of just seeing any regular townhouse. We wanna try to make them both look the same homes. But we do have two architects working.
And your other question was about water movement and Mr. Bender's property, Al's Bicycle Shop to the south. The developers agreed to put in piping or whatever is necessary to help drain their driveway in case it's going to be restricted with the townhouses being right across from his building, and there's a driveway coming in here. But there's going to be adequate space and ability to put in pipes or whatever is necessary to drain that area into the water detention area for the townhouses.
So in your diagram there, the white in the middle signifies pavement, and the crosshatch, that's pavers that allow water to
Yes, you're right.
seep in?
I've got a little drawing here. This shows the island. Smaller, but this area is all landscaping around the parking spaces. And then the area all the way around it is brick pavers. And then in front of each of the townhouses and the live-work ones, there's also a little garden in front of each one of them to have a nice entranceway, very much like the single-family homes.
There was some discussion in the report about the repaving of Floral Avenue itself. Is it scheduled now, or are we going to wait until I know there might be some piping or some connections to sewers that need to be made for the Mr. Joseph's
Right.
development?
Yeah, we're in the final phase of this. Within the next week or so, the alley behind the single-family homes to the south is being paved. And each of the homes on Floral had a separate water connection. This development will only have one connection, and it'll have an internal water system. So the agreement is that the Floral developer will repave all of Floral, plus replace the curb, and our new developer here will only pay for his portion of it, where a large water service in a vault is going to be put in, and then the rest of it will be paved. So we're actually going to take a bond for that 110%. Probably the village will do the work. We're also working with ComEd to remove all the utilities along Floral Avenue because they're in the way of the work, and also we would just clean up the whole area, and also along Cleveland here. So we're in the final phase of getting a design on that, and it would be a TIF-eligible expense to do that work.
Trustee, just to add to that, if you recall, if I remember correctly, Pete, actually Floral was repaved prior to all this work many years ago.
Yes.
And so when we did the contract with the Floral Avenue developer, we did put into his contract development agreement that he would be responsible because we anticipated this kind of impact on the street. So this is something we anticipated, and of course they're living up to their end of it.
Will the paving be done this summer, or what's the timetable on that?
I think they're going to be done with the houses in August, so we'll have to see how that contract goes.
Okay. Larry, did you have any comments?
No, I think the water situation that I was most worried about will be dealt with. I
Okay,
think we'll be okay.
good. I gotta bring my bike in shortly, so I want to make sure you're taken care of.
Hopefully you won't need a boat.
I'm sorry, Trustee Sutker.
I just have a question about the front yard fences that aren't allowed at all. Is that because it's an R4 zoning district?
Well, the ordinance has been very clear that you cannot have a front yard fence in a residential district or any district that requires a front yard. And along a little further north, where the townhouses are on Lincoln Avenue, that was prior to that ordinance.
Okay.
And that was part of a planned development. I
Okay.
myself like them very much.
Mhm.
But the question is, and it came up before whether we should amend the ordinance to allow front yard fences.
Mhm.
The board voted against it, saying, because you really couldn't, then you have a difficult time saying what's a nice fence and what's not a nice fence. So the nice wrought iron fence to the north is great, but we have really no control over that.
Just curious because I have a front yard fence. Thank you.
Full disclosure.
Yeah, full disclosure.
Is there anybody else who has a comment or question? If not, call the roll, please.
Trustee Roberts,
Aye.
Trustee Sutker,
Aye.
Trustee Ulrich,
Aye.
Trustee Bromberg,
Aye.
Trustee Klein,
Aye.
Trustee Gray Keeler,
Aye.
Mayor Van Dusen.
Aye, the motion passes. Congratulations and welcome. Does
Concludes my
anybody
report.
wish to address the board? Citizen comments?
I'm sorry to interrupt the proceedings, and my comment has really no bearing on the results that were just voted. My name is Brad Blumenthal. I live at 8142 Floral Avenue. I'm part of the development. I received this today, postmarked March the 4th, as did one of my neighbors, also postmarked March the 4th. We'd just like a little more advance warning for the record on hearings that affect our neighborhood.
Yes.
That's all.
I'm very surprised. March 4th?
May the 4th be
May
with you.
4th. May 4th. Oh, I'm sorry.
Star Wars Day.
I misunderstood you. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, May the 4th. I apologize.
You did say.
Okay.
Yeah, March the 4th would have been,
Yeah.
Yes, Yes.
Would have been unusual, yeah. I'm
Yes,
sorry,
it
May
would
the
have,
4th.
okay.
Cheers, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for telling us. Is there anybody else who would like to address the board? If not, I don't.
Motion to
I'm not
adjourn.
sure. We are adjourned.